Hi guys, it's me, Gentle Anderson again, and for this video that I will be dedicating to Asian History Month in 2025, I shall be talking about yet another book about Japanese culture. But this one is a little bit interesting because I will consider it part one of two book series, at least two books on the culture, and it's pretty much set up the same way by the publisher to again, but this time they're proud to show off the name on this title. So anyway, the name of the book is The Japanese Mind. It's understanding contemporary Japanese culture, and it's edited by Roger J. Davies and Osamu Akino. Okay, now this is actually not one book on one subject in general. It's more of a series of essays that deal with different aspects of Japanese culture and life in Japan. And I will read you the table of contents here so that you guys get a feel for what they're talking about here. This is actually quite comprehensive. I'm sure there are other topics you can talk about, but I would say this is good, possibly for an academic thing. If I got funny thing to say about that too. But all these essays are by the people who go to school there, university students, college students, and the like, as well as professionals too. And there are very few minor typos and corrections that I can see there, but it's not too big of a deal. Only like a handful in like a 200 somewhat page book. So I just have to win on that front. Anyway. Please excuse me if I butcher some of these words. Am I, which is ambiguity in Japanese. Am I, which is the concept of Japanese dependence. Amakudari, which is descent from heaven. Bigagu, which is the Japanese sense of beauty, which I like. Bushido, the way of the warrior, which happened to be my what part of my name on Planetfix.com. Okay, Chinmoku, silence in Japanese communication. I like that one. Dayanyo, Kenki, male and female relationships in Japan. The Do spirit of Japan. Gambari, Japanese patience and determination. It's funny because there's a song I really like called Gambara Senpai, which is a thing I use side myself about the gym and all that. That's a pretty cool song. and it had to do with that too. Giri, which is Japanese social obligations. Haruke, which is an unpleasant way of communicating in Japan. Head Taru, with Jimu, which is Japanese personal space. I kind of like that one too. Hornet, do May private versus public stance in Japan. The Japanese EA system. Ikoto Dori, adopting elements of foreign culture. I kind of like that one for obvious reasons. Ikuji, careering practices in Japan. Can kill Japanese virtual modesty. So I like that one a lot. Kiketsu, the Japanese sense of the seasons. Nemawashi, laying the groundwork in Japan. On my arranged marriage in Japan. I'm not too much fond of that. Also, Giban Ashi, folktales of Japan, which I like. Real Sai Kimbo, good wives and wise mothers, the social expectation of women in Japan. Senpai Kawaii, seniority rules in Japanese relations, so I like. Shugen Diane Ishiki, Japanese Ryukan consciousness. Shoshiki, which is Japanese funerals. Uchi Tusodo, dooming to Japanese human relations. And wabi-sabi, simplicity and elegance as Japanese ideal of beauty. It's funny, there's one more after this, but it's funny that, that in when I took my Japanese class, I remember there was like an article that the professor gave us to read on, this same topic, wabi-sabi. So I looked it up on my own. I checked on my computer, and I saw that it wasn't the exact article on there that was in this book, but it was actually very similar and by the same people, but published by Tuttle Publishing. So that was actually really funny to me. And the last here is Zoto, which is the Japanese custom of gift giving. I say that this is pretty good because it encompasses many different aspects of Japanese culture, from soup to nuts, as they say, from beginning to end. So it's they talk about children's how to respect elders, how to respect seniority in Japanese culture, women's more traditional roles and whatnot. Plus, they also give a thing here for Japanese chronology, and they talk about different periods and the approximate dates that begin and end, like the Meiji period, the Edo period, the Heian period, Nara, etc., etc., etc. So not only is this a book about modern history, modern culture, but it also features pre-modern stuff as well. Because as we all know, Japan is a country that celebrates both the ancient history as well as more modern stuff. So there's something to that too. Let me see here. And we see that there are many different ways that there are different mindsets of a Japanese person raised in Japan, and say in Western cultures. For example, we all know about the Western style of beauty. Well, they talk about how people have to be demure and try to in other ways besides what we view as being beautiful here in America and other Western cultures. Let's see. I don't think there are any pictures in here, but if you want to kind they have pictures of Japanese characters in here, which is always a nice little treat. A neat treat. I think that these characters represent the chapter titles that are on here. But like I said before about the academic stuff, it turns out that there are discussion activities and various questions about what would it be like if you did this situation? How would someone else interpret this in Japanese culture but whatnot? And they also exploring cross-cultural issues. So, in other words, this book was meant to carry on as an academic text. I just never read them because obviously I'm not in school anymore for that. But this could actually be used for something a little more simple, like high school level academics. If the school in question has that program set out. Yeah, this thing is actually pretty fascinating because I didn't know much about funeral rights and all that. Going into this, you talk about Buddhism as well as Shintoism, and they say that pretty much that Shinto is pretty much the national religion of Japan at the time. So when Buddhism came over from China and much further back India and all that, that they kind of mesh together. So it's kind of very similar to each other in some of the rights and ceremonies and whatever and whatnot. So that's a pretty fascinating. I plan using this book and my knowledge for when I do go to Japan once in a lifetime. Anyway, here, although they don't really explain why Japanese people use vertical lines to actually write stuff on calligraphy and all that, whereas everyone else in the world uses horizontal writing system. That and of course China and I think Korea too. I'm not sure about that, but when I asked my professor about that, the language professor, she said because it always was. And she couldn't explain to me why it differs so much in China and then Japan. Let's see here, talk about human relationships. Something I would like to talk very much about with somebody over there in Japan. Would like to have a relationship with somebody from Japan, friendship or whatever. And let's see here. But what they don't cover is they cover relationships and communication between people who are male and female. But what about the other grouping in there, the LGBTQ plus community? They don't really discuss any of that. They just do black and white, male, female. They don't do anything about that. And also, another thing, I would like to hear what people have to say about people who are disabled. Because from what I hear some very nasty things about that. In fact, until fairly recently, I think the 90s or something, they were actually involuntarily sterilized so that they couldn't breed with regular people. And I'll put the link for that in the description below. So they don't cover that in this book, probably because they want to put rules on everything about Japan. And for people like me, it'd be kind of difficult to be able to stomach all that. So that's something that they should look into if they make it part 3 or something. Anyway, also, nah, I won't go in it. But, I enjoyed this book a lot. And thank you very much for watching my video review of The Japanese Mind, Understanding Contemporary Japanese Culture. That of course that means modern culture by any stretch of the imagination. Anyway, I did this for Asian History Month in the year 2025. And also I would like to see more of a thing about World War II in it. I mean, I know how I was taught about World War II, but I would like to know about how they were taught about it. How the Japanese were taught about World War II and what happened then. Also, I want to know about how the culture shock of, say, somebody like me from America would talk to someone from Japan about that awful event in history. Because you know how that turned out for me. It didn't turn out too well for me. And I talked to somebody about that. So, yeah. This is the 2025 History Month. I give this book my happy face seal approval for emphasizing different aspects of Japanese culture for people like me that has very strong interest in there, and besides all the geisha and cinema information that I know about, some of the other stuff that these daily living would be is a nice touch. It's a nice addition to my knowledge pool. And knowledge is power. And the more you know, the better you are. Right? So yeah. So if you guys like what you see here and want to see more of my videos and such, you can always like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. You can also give me any input on future videos and I can make by by calling or texting me at 631-707-3707. And if you like, also follow me on Twitter or X if you prefer at PMelson_Pro. Also, my email is jjviewingchannel@gmail.com. So I salute all those people who are interested in Japanese culture, language, and so on and so forth, and people that would like to go visit there one day. I would like to go visit there one day. I thank whoever put this together to give me a little cultural insight as to certain things that I may not know from history books, from other books in general about the area. I would also like to thank Roger Davies and Dr. Osamu Aquino for making this wonderful book. And please, my brothers and sisters, I highly recommend this book to anyone if you haven't known. If you can't tell by now, the book is very, really good. Anyway, let me see here, because I'm present. Oh yeah. Sayonara, aloha to all you girls and guys in internet land. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Ciao, ciao.